What about grad school? Okay, so there are two major kinds of graduate school programs you might be thinking about. So the first one is a master's program, so a master's degree in HCI or design or related field. So let's talk about that first. So master's programs are typically 1 to 2 years. You're typically paying tuition. Typically, there's not that much financial aid, right? You're basically paying the full tuition. You can get a loan and stuff, but they're pretty expensive, especially at a private school. So just think about that. So I would say no if you already have a good portfolio of internships, right? Like, so my TAs, my TAs who TAs for my class, they're able to get good jobs right out of college, out of undergrad, no problem, because they have the portfolios, the case studies, everything. So no need for a graduate program. No if you can already get a job from college. Right? If you're already getting a job that you need, there's no reason for another degree. Maybe if your major is far away from HCI and design, this typically happens. I get people who, we have a lot of people who switch into COGS HCI from different majors. They were like pre-med before, they were a bio major, and then they take COGS 1, they're like, oh, I really want to do this, and forget med school. And my parents are going to be mad because I'm not going to be in med school, but this is way more exciting. So if your major is far away, maybe a master's would help, because then at least your most advanced degree says master's in HCI or design. So that might help you on the job market instead of saying you have another degree that's not in HCI. Maybe if you want to be a teacher, so if you want to teach at design schools, usually you need at least a master's level degree to be an instructor at a design institute. Yes, if you don't have a short portfolio yet, I think if you can't afford it, right? If you can't afford it, I think a master's degree in a good program will allow you to do more of these class projects, these internship projects and stuff to build up a portfolio. It's just another way to do that, right? You don't have to, right? You can do it all yourself, but the nice thing about a school setting is that in a good program, it gives you that structure. If you can afford it, right? It's time, it's tuition, it's money, it's a financial decision. It's ultimately, I view master's programs as a purchasing decision, right? I mean, it costs as much as a luxury car, basically, right? So you're like, if you can afford that, if you can afford that, that tens of thousands of dollars, and you think it's worth it, but it's not a decision you should take lightly. I think it's a very serious decision to do. So you shouldn't just default into it. Yes, if you want to be a UX researcher, more and more these UX research roles, they probably require a master's or above degree. Okay, so you go to graduate school to get a PhD degree in HCI or design or related fields. So this slide should just be like a big no. The first page is a giant no. No, but seriously, no if you're aiming for most design-related jobs, right? So this is not a degree. So a PhD degree is usually 5 to 7 years. You're usually paid a stipend, right? You're a teaching assistant, you're a research assistant. It is a job, right? So a PhD degree, it's very different than a master's. So, a master's degree is 1 or 2 years, you're paying tuition. It's basically like an undergrad degree. You're paying as much as you're paying for an expensive Tesla car, and a year later you get like a diploma. Basically, that's what a master's degree is. A PhD degree is kind of like a job that you're training to be a researcher. It's a 5 to 7 year job. You're getting paid a small salary. You're basically being paid to teach and do research. So it's not really for most kinds of design-related jobs. You can get a PhD in that and go into the same design jobs, but you're basically not getting paid much more than you should have just gone directly from a bachelor's. Maybe if you want to be a UX researcher, maybe, although you might be better off just doing a master's if you want to do UX research. Yes, if you want to be a university professor and do research and teaching at the university level, right? So the professors who gave talks here, we all have PhDs in related fields and stuff, and that's really what you need for a university level research and teaching job. Yes, if you want to be a research scientist, this is a confusing name. So research scientists are not UX researchers. So research scientists are basically academic or applied researchers, right? So what research scientists do is they do science, they do experiments, they write papers, they try to contribute to the research literature. They do very similar things to what professors and students, graduate students do. UX researchers are the ones who are doing research on the user experience, on the users to help improve the products, whereas a research scientist is much more about producing papers and patents and more general knowledge. So if you want to be in like research in academia or even in companies, you do need a PhD. And then yes, if you want to be a data scientist, I think this is changing because there's more master's data science programs, but in the old days, data scientists were hired out of PhD for the most part. Okay, so here's a recap of the talk, and I'll do a epic conclusion. So The recap is build up a design portfolio, right? Think about projects, class projects, internship projects, side projects. Think about writing up a case study, how to write up your process. Lean hard on your personal and alumni connections, and then get a design internship while you're in college. And again, many students and alumni wish they had learned what's in this talk at the very beginning of college. And now hopefully you can see why, right? Because this stuff does take a lot of time to prepare. This is why it's great to give this talk in Cogs 1. Because I'm not expecting you all to come out of this talk and make your portfolio or case study right away, but just thinking about it in the back of your head, right? Because you're like, yeah, maybe I'm interested in doing this. And it's good to start planning early.